In this video, I am going to be sharing 7 different tripod reviews from $15 to $150 so you can figure out what the best budget tripod is for you. Okay, if you are just starting out and you have a very low budget and you just want to put something on a tripod, this is my recommendation. It is the Amazon Basics tripod and it's pretty simple and basic. This is an 18-inch one and it has the flip lock that you can elongate with. The thing is, it is pretty thin, as you can see. Like, you can see it kind of wriggling. Like, there's not much of a sturdy hold. But if you just have a startup and you're just looking for something to hold something up, I think this is great. It does swivel around so you can pan and do video stuff. And you can turn the camera sideways like this. I wouldn't recommend this for any sort of expensive camera equipment though, because I feel like it would just take it down with it. I've used my expensive camera on this and it's super heavy and it's held it up, but I just don't trust it enough. As you can see, this attaches to the camera and it's pretty cheap. It's just plastic. And I have right here with me a very expensive work camera. It is a mirrorless camera and it's almost the same weight and lightness as my crop sensor, which a crop sensor is basically a starter camera and it's not as heavy. There's a lot of technical stuff. So I just want to say that this expensive camera I think is light enough that you could put it on this basic, but because this is so expensive, I probably would not use such a cheap tripod. So for the next few tripods, I am just going to be reading off of Amazon just because I bought them and then I had to return them because I realized they weren't really my vibe, you know? So I'm just going to read this one. This is only $42, so pretty low in budget, but I would say that when I bought it, it was actually kind of flimsy and kind of plasticky and cheap, almost like the Amazon Basics one. What I liked about it is you could take the middle out and use it as a monopod. And then what was also nice about it was it had a hook in the middle that you could hang your backpack to keep the tripod grounded, and it did have rotatable plastic feet. And you could put it on different terrains. So if you're on rocky soil, then it would still try to balance everything out, and it did have a flip clip. And that's the #1 thing that I like to look for. The next tripod that I did buy was the ESDDI Tripod. Before I talk about it, let me just say that if you're unsure if your camera will fit this certain particular tripod, make sure that you do go down in the comments or the questions and type in your camera body just to make sure that your camera will fit, or you can also read the description. Usually the manufacturer or the seller will put it down there in the caption. So what I liked about the ESDDI tripod is, well, it is a budget tripod. It's $55 and it is definitely heavier duty than the first two we have talked about. As you can tell in the picture, it is metal. You can tell that it's better quality. Like right here up in the mount, it's not your flip lock like the newer one, the plastic one. This is an actual screw where you have to twist it in to make sure it's all in place. At first it is kind of a learning curve, but I would say it really holds it in place. You can use one of the side legs as a monopod. I think that's what makes it harder though, because it isn't just something you could pull out from the middle. Another thing that I like about it is that you can put your camera upside down like so, and you can definitely use the ball mount to your advantage because it is a ball head, so it'll rotate. It says that you could put your camera vertically or sideways, and I actually didn't find that to be true just because my camera is so heavy. So that's one of the reasons why I returned it. And also it's just $55 for something that doesn't really perform as optimally as I want it to. I just ended up returning it. At the end, I will show you guys a little hack that I found that I will be using for vertical shots. But the Neewer tripod I'm about to share with you is this was actually my favorite tripod out of the batch. So I actually bought this during Black Friday. It was on sale for $70 to $80, and actually right now it's still on sale around $106. Usually it is around $126, but I just really loved how heavy duty this was. Compared to the first 3 I've shared with you, this is definitely higher end. As you can tell right here, you can see that it's just made out of aluminum, and you can just tell by the picture that it's higher quality. And each leg has a cushion around it, so it makes it easier for you to hold and carry. It is heavier than the first 3, so it's not as optimal for traveling, but it's just such a great tripod. I just wish I could have kept this, but I'll share with you what I didn't like about it just in a bit. But another thing that you haven't seen yet is this lateral arm, which is also called a boom arm. And basically you can just take the middle leg and extend it horizontally so that you can take pictures or videos of anything on the floor or on a table, anything like that. Maybe you have some stop motion that you want to create. This is great for it. And then right here in the middle, you can extend it different angles. And as you can see right here, the head or the mount also has that screwable knob. So it's not just like a flip lock, so you know that it will keep it. And again, it has a ball mount. You can definitely extend it different angles. And another thing that's nice about it is you can take it down to the floor. You can definitely take it as low as you want right here. I was about to start singing, but I won't. The reason why I returned this tripod was because it didn't have flip locks. So instead of flip locks, it actually had screw lock. So it would just take longer for me because I have tiny little hands. I have to go meep, meep. Regarding a vertical shot, this also didn't really let me have a vertical shot. It wasn't strong enough. Okay, a tripod similar to the one I just talked about is the KNF. And I almost settled in on this one just because I was tired of returning tripods and it kind of fit my needs, but there's a couple of different aspects I did not like about it. But I did like how it had a boom arm still and it still had this screw right here. It is heavier duty than the first couple I talked about, but it's not higher quality than the newer one. It doesn't have any cushions around the legs except for one, which is the monopod. It does take a while to take that monopod out. It's not just like the first one where you could take out the middle beam and just immediately use it as a monopod. I did like this tripod for its flip lock legs. So this to me kind of beat the newer one just because it had the flip lock legs. I want flip lock legs because they're just faster to use. But I did not like how the mount didn't fit my camera as well. Obviously, that's important to look at. I did like how it had a hook at the bottom as well, so you could put your back down there to just make sure everything stays in place. And it does lower down like so, just like the newer one, but it definitely is not as sturdy, and it comes at a higher price than the newer one I just talked about. This is $134. The other one I bought for $70 to $80, and it's on sale for $106. This is still more expensive, and it's definitely not better quality. Okay, so what I actually ended up keeping was the newer, let me just look. Okay, so what budget tripod I ended up buying and keeping was the Neewer 2-in-1 aluminum alloy camera tripod monopod, and it's basically the same as the ESDDI as I said, but it is cheaper at $57. It's definitely lighter weight than the newer heavy duty one with the boom arm that I loved, but I think it just works for now because all I'm using my tripods for are videos and from time to time BTS clips. Okay, maybe the one issue that I would say is a little bit shorter than I would like. It is 66 inches, so over 5 feet. I did take a headshot of a group the other day and some people were really tall, so I was kind of experimenting with holding it up while trying to balance it on the ground. But I would say try to get something that's a little taller. What I did like about this one, the head of this is metal and you can tell it's sturdy. The screws on top are rubber and very tight. And besides having the sturdy screws and metal work and the flip locks that I like, I was thinking because this one is not a lateral arm tripod, I could just buy a lateral arm separately and then attach it on top. That one costs around $40. And so if you add this up, which this is around $57, so 60 plus 40, it's 100. And the other one is around 135, you know, the one that I returned. So I'm saving around $40 to $50, I would say. But I mean, in the future, I might end up getting the expensive one just because it's an investment. Okay, so that's for the newer tripod that I have. And I ended up keeping it, and it's doing its job. But if I had to get, or if I could get my own wish list tripod, I would get the Vanguard Ultra Pro for $142. The Vanguard Ultra Pro is definitely on the higher end of the budget tripod scale, but I would say it's just so sturdy. You can just tell that it holds its weight up, and it's made with really great quality. And actually the one I borrowed over the summer had some sort of like handle grip, but you can just tell when you feel something and it's good quality. This was it. So this Vanguard Ultra Pro was definitely on the scale of that Neewer with a boom arm. Those were kind of the same level. But yeah, if I could buy another one, this would be it. It would solve all my problems except for the vertical positioning of the camera. Let me just tell you what I bought to get my vertical shots for Instagram, for stories, for reels, for TikTok. I ended up buying this little gadget from Amazon, and it is this L-shaped mount for my tripod. So I ended up talking about this more in detail in my Amazon must-haves video, and go ahead and watch that to learn more about this and also some other Amazon favorites that I have bought recently. I guess I can tell you what tripod I think is the best, and I would say my favorite tripod is the Neewer with the lateral arm, just because it's all together, you don't have to buy anything separately, and it's just so sturdy and dependable. The only issue I did have was definitely the screw legs. That just took up way too much time to assemble, but if you can afford the Vanguard lateral arm with flip locks, then you are set to go.